So if you have thoracic outlet syndrome, you better watch this video because I'm going to show you guys 3 easy stretches you can do to help take your pain down. So listen up. And of course, before we get going, you have to subscribe to Ryleyrehab because every single week, me, myself, am going to make you new videos helping you become the expert of your own body. So thoracic outlet syndrome, I first want to just explain what that is. It's something that you should get diagnosed by a medical professional because it's pretty complex, but in general, your arm becomes numb, most often on the pinky and the ring finger on this side. It often can become heavy, can become cold, almost feels the way you'd feel if you fell asleep on your arm, which I'm sure everyone can relate to. And the big idea with this is it's something coming from the thoracic outlet is basically a little spot in under the collarbone and then going through the armpit where nerves get pinched and arteries get pinched, and that causes pain as well as numbness and loss of strength in more severe cases. So what you want to do is, first of all, make sure you get checked out by a doctor, physio, medical professional, because there's so many other things that can cause tingling and numbness in the finger, and you want to make sure you have the right diagnosis before you dive into these. I don't see these stretches hurting even if you don't, but just keep that in mind. And assuming you have this and assuming you've been checked out, one easy stretch you can do is you can work on this muscle here, which is called the scalene. The big idea with this is you have a muscle here and the arteries and nerves go in between these muscles, and they also go underneath the ribs, which this attaches to. Probably too much information, but just keep in mind that you have a muscle here that if you stretch it out, it can calm down the pain in your arm in many cases. So what you want to do here is you want to tilt your head away from the side you feel pain, just like this. Drop your shoulder on the side you feel pain, like this. You should already feel a stretch here, but if you want to take it to the next level, while you're doing that, you can turn your head towards the arm where the pain is. So it would look like this if I was trying to stretch out this side. You should feel a stretch right in the spot in the front of the neck. You could probably see mine popping out if you look closely enough. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this stretch for 30 seconds to a minute until you feel it all relax. And the one key thing I'll mention with this is if you do have thoracic outlet syndrome, you may not get the effects right away. There's a weird thing with nerves where you don't notice the relief instantly. Sometimes it can take up to a day to notice a change. But this is a type of stretch, if this is not making your pain worse, this is something I would recommend doing a lot. I'd probably do it 5 times a day, or perhaps even more if it's not causing pain, because the big idea is you're trying to improve flexibility here, to just open up that space to let the nerve breathe a little more so your arm doesn't feel as sore. The second stretch you want to do is you want to work on the other muscle, which I have taped right here, known as the pectoralis minor. Now this one is a common one. If you've ever seen people with the rounded shoulders, that's mainly because these muscles here are tight and they're pulling it all forward. So what you want to do is reverse that. You want to stretch it the other way, because this is another one that the nerves in the artery go underneath it. So if this thing's tight, it's going to be pressing this thing like crazy, and it's going to be giving you uncomfortable feeling in your arms. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to stretch this is just put your hands behind your head. Imagine you're just like the big executive at the office, just chilling out, just like, oh yeah, feels great. What you're going to do is put your hand behind your head, lean back. And the key thing with this is you actually want to focus, I'm going to move this way. You want to focus on bringing your elbows back. I'm exaggerating the motion, but you want to go in this direction. And you should feel a pinch in your shoulder blades when you do that. But the big thing with this is you're going to feel a stretch along this area here. You can lean back as well. I would recommend that too, because often we are going to be hunched forward. This is a great office stretch as well, something you can do. Maybe don't let your boss see this one, but this is a really good one you can do to take your pain down. And once again, assuming this isn't causing you any big pains, I would recommend doing this a lot. I'd probably do this 5 times a day, perhaps even closer to 10 if it's not causing you too much trouble. One little thing I'll mention with this though is because it is stretching, if you do have a pinch of the nerve there, there is a chance this might actually aggravate your pain down the arm. If that is the case, I would go a little more gentle, and I'd probably limit the amount you do this. Then the third stretch you want to do is actually a simple postural exercise. I had this in another video. I call it the puppet master. And I find this is a good one just to correct people's posture in general. So already these 3 stretches are great for just about anybody, especially if you're in a desk job. But what you're going to do is you're going to imagine somebody is pulling you by, I don't have long enough hair to demonstrate, but imagine somebody's pulling you up by a string, and you're gradually getting taller. And you should feel as if all your spine bones from the bum all the way up to the neck are lengthening. This is one of those things that'll realign your posture, and it'll help prevent that slouching that could potentially cause the nerves to be pinched. So you're going to hold this one. I would actually recommend doing this every hour, just as a good way to remind yourself when you're in the office to keep yourself nice and straight all the time. One other thing I'll mention too, some people do emphasize the dropping of the shoulders part. I'm actually not a big fan of trying to drop the shoulders down if you have this kind of problem, because with the anatomy of it, you're actually trying to keep the collarbone not too low. Now, I'm not endorsing anybody to walk around like this all the time, but I will say if you truly do have thoracic outlet syndrome, by pushing down, in theory, that should actually aggravate things more. So just focus on keeping your spine straight. Don't worry about moving your shoulders. You can pull them back a little bit, but don't focus on pulling down. Just keep yourself nice and tall. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please comment below to let me know what you think, and I shall see you next time.